Hello, my fantasy friends. Welcome to a special edition of Starting Lineup, the first ever Starting Lineup coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. Very excited for the big announcement later today. Also excited for the first midweek action in MLS this season. The Philadelphia Union heading up I-95 to Red Bull Arena to take on the Red Bulls. They also have a second game this week against the Houston Dynamo. So how do you tackle this double game week? Let's take a look at the Philadelphia Union and which players you should key on. We'll start in the back. MACMATH in goal. He is one player you should have on your fantasy team this week, and here's why. Both of their opponents were shut out last week, but even if he doesn't get a shutout this week, and I don't expect him to, you're looking at 4 or 5 points a game from the goalkeeper position. That equals 8 to 10 points over a 2-game span. Even if you had Steve Clark, who I think is the best chance of getting a shutout at home against DC United for the Crew, the shutout is 4 points, 2 points for playing the game, that's 6. Even with 2 or 3 bonuses, you're only at 8 or 9 points. I think MACMATH, do the MACMATH, he will end up with more points than the next best goalkeeper just for having 2 games. Now, looking at the defender position for Philadelphia, I don't like any of them. I think the play here is the midfield for the Union, especially when you have Leo Fernandez, as cheap as he is, and he loves to get into the attack. You want him on your team. You also have Sebastian Letou, Maurice Adu, Vincent Nogueira, all good attacking options. The thing here is, we expect MAIDANA to start pushing for more playing time. He had a good appearance against Real Salt Lake. So whose time is he going to take? It's probably going to be Letou's or Fernandez's, considering what we've seen from the Union so far. Maurice Adu, Vincent Nogueira, those are the sure bets to play 90 minutes. And you know Brian Carroll, not really a fantasy stud in there. So take a look at that midfield. The other player you're going to want, Andrew Wenger. What a debut he had for the Union, getting a goal. And the important thing is here, when they needed a goal late in the game, they brought Connor Casey on and they didn't take Wenger out. They had them play up top together to get on the end of service. I think you have to like what you've seen from Wenger. And look, even if they take him out late in the game, he's probably going to play the majority of the 180 minutes this week for the Union and get a lot of the chances. So as you try to build out your fantasy roster for this week with Union players, remember one thing, you don't want to be taking too many point deductions just to get these players into your lineup. I'm not sure the difference is going to be there, especially when you look at a guy like Andrew Wenger, who could come in there. He's $6.1 million. If you have Quincy America on your team and you're thinking about getting rid of Quincy, who's on fire for Andrew Wenger, I wouldn't do it, especially if it costs you points. Also in the midfield, to get Sebastian Letou on your team, you're not going to do it at the expense of Mauro Diaz or Pedro Morales, who are similarly priced. Diaz, great matchup against Toronto at home, who should be depleted. And Pedro Morales, Vancouver's been great at home. Even though they struggled last week, I would keep him in your lineup over Sebastian Letou, especially if it's going to cost you points to make that switch. All right, remember, 2 more double weeks next week with Houston and the New York Red Bulls. I'm wrapping it up here from Atlanta. Good luck this weekend. I'll see you next week with plenty more on Starting Lineup.